Quantum immortality. Now this "we don't die" idea brings me back to when I first started driving back in the early 80s. It was dusk and I was driving on I-95 in Philadelphia, PA, with the rain hitting my windshield to a point where I was barely able to see. There was an 18-wheeler on my right and another one on my left. Both trucks were just about 3 or 4 car lengths in front of me. As a teenager, I'm not really sure what was going through my head. I just knew I wanted to get away from these trucks. So I hit the gas to shoot between them. I realized instantly that I had lost control of the car. The driver's side wheels took flight. The car was on the 2 passenger side wheels and I was up off the ground. There were many things going on in my head at this point, total shock being one. The experience lasted no more than 3 seconds. 1 second I was in the air and the next I was back on all 4 tires, still behind the trucks. With my heart pounding a million miles a second and with my entire body stiffening up, I slowed the car down and stayed well behind them for the rest of the trip. Did you catch that? There was no time in between when the car was on 2 wheels and when it went to being on all 4 wheels. Thinking back on this now, I do not recall any impact from the car reaching the ground. I can only speculate that I was in total shock and I wasn't really recalling everything properly. Now, to connect this to the Mandela effect, shortly after this experience, I noticed McDonald's changed their sign. To me, it made it look more modern. Of course, I wouldn't have thought that they removed a letter because the whole sign looked totally different to me. I do recall McDonald's being MacDonald's, but it didn't dawn on me until after being exposed to the Mandela effect 3 decades later. Why did I notice it at all? In theory, I may have died during the hydroplane experience, and instead of passing on to the afterlife, my consciousness shifted into another adjacent timeline where I did not die, so that I might continue on with my life. So this whole idea of quantum immortality, which there seems to be a plethora of information about on the internet, could be an actual way of life for us, or maybe just some of us, depending on who and what is real. I do think this will all be connected to your own personal belief systems as well. Your own personal experiences will be shown in a way you can understand it. You will only be shown what your mind can handle. If in actuality I had flipped that car back in the early 80s, anyone who was close to me, who may have focused on a strong fear of me dying, experienced me dying in that timeline. Another experience which occurred close to New Year's Eve 2014 comes to mind. This event, coupled with other events in quick succession, could be why I started noticing different changes. I was alone in my apartment. My roommate was away for the holidays. I was in a rotten mood and I was looking for a good stiff drink. I opened the refrigerator door and saw a clear glass container filled with fruit and a clear liquid. Of course, I assumed it was vodka and drank most of it right down. It turns out that it was grain alcohol. The look in my eyes must have been horrifying. The realization of what I just swallowed put me in a state of shock. I desperately reached for the kitchen sink, grasping for air that would not come. I turned the water on and grabbed as much water as I could, forcefully tossing it in my mouth. The sensation was very bland, and it felt like nothing was getting down my throat. I felt a tear roll down my cheek, which snapped my attention to the fact that I was slowly losing consciousness. I claimed one more handful of water before my knees hit the ground. I deliberately lied down on the kitchen floor, hoping to catch a breath of air, but I blacked out instead. I woke up on the bathroom floor, 2 rooms away, with no recollection of how I got there. I still had a burning sensation in my throat, so I went right for the bathroom sink and drank more water. I walked around the apartment feeling a bit buzzed, but not nearly as drunk as I should have been for the amount of grain alcohol I consumed. After all the experiences I have had since the impalement, I have come to hypothesize that our consciousness shifts into another similar adjacent timeline when death occurs. What I feel happens is your consciousness locates, probably instantly, a parallel timeline with similar parameters closest to the one you were just in. This may not be the case for everyone or every circumstance. It may be certain kinds of death, I don't know. But it seems that we could continue on. For how long would be another question I have not been able to answer, only speculate. Other experiences have shown me that it is just our consciousness and not our bodies that shift into other parallel timelines. But this could just be for me and where I am in relation to my life, my beliefs, and my focus. Others may have different experiences. And please remember that I do not have all the answers, if any. I am still searching and will search even if I think I have found the answer, because I know I haven't. If someone believes they have the answer or an answer for the Mandela effects or other phenomenon, be skeptical and question everything. Knowing anything for sure is a trap. I may not have the answers you're looking for, but what I have is my answers from my experience. You may have interpreted the experience similar to the way I interpreted them, or you may not have. You will need to do the work for yourself. Since this term or theory of quantum immortality has been tossed around the internet, I have to say it would be one of the top theories that I resonate with.